Don't wait till the battle's over. Don't wait till the struggle ends. Shout now, shout now, right now, shout now, shout now. Don't wait till you make.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Phillip Show. We are in a whole new season. I'm super excited. The weather is different. People are different. Our stories are different. Journeys are different. Hair is different. My glasses are a little bit. Listen, it's different. And I have a different cup of coffee. Grab your coffee if you have not already. So a lot of you, since you've seen me last, have grown. A lot of you have expanded. I've spoken to a lot of you, and thank you all so much for your emails and connecting online. But it seems like there's so much growth, and it's not about that we grew. A lot of times it's about how we grew that really makes the difference to those who are watching. So today, we are super excited to be talking to someone who has grown, and we're going to talk about the journey of how, known as the law firm's CPA, best-selling author, and internationally acclaimed speaker, and here to tell us about the journey of creating $1 million plus firm from the ground up. Please help me welcome Jayden Doye. Jayden.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Hey,
so glad to be here.
I am so glad that you are here. I saw that you were drinking on some coffee or something. What we got? What's going on today?
Absolutely. We have a small cup of coffee this morning.
A small cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And even that, are you now? Do you like what kind of coffee do you like?
I'm not really particular. I like my coffee black. And
Okay.
when I make my coffee, I usually do like a Dunkin' Donuts, like a medium roast. Yeah. That's what medium roast or a light roast.
Medium or light roast. Yeah. I noticed that I'm not a coffee snob, and by the time, it depends on how lazy I am that day. So somebody asked me the other day, they said, what do you have in your coffee? And I'm like, well, normally if I'm being super lazy, it's completely black. I don't want to put anything in it. But then after I add stuff, by the time I get done with the sugar and the cream, all the coffee tastes the same. It all tastes the same.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I am so glad you're here. You got your cup, you got your coffee. You heard, we're talking about journeys, and you have an incredible one that I am so excited you decided to share with me and everybody who's watching and listening. So before we jump into where you are now, where are you from?
I'm actually from Prince George's County, Maryland. One exit away from DC. So a lot of my dad's side of the family is from DC, and my mom's side of the family is from Africa, country called Namibia, which is right above South Africa. And so I am a true African American, as they say.
Not true.
I'm not, maybe unlike Raven Simone, but I'm true to it. Okay. I'm not.
Have been fired. Well, in a time, and giving that kind of background from where you're from, we're in a very interesting time. This isn't what we're here to talk about, but we're in a really interesting time of culture, and that being the highlight. And we could talk about that in a whole nother episode. But I'm so glad that you kind of put that into perspective for us, because it gives a glimpse of your background and how you were able to navigate to where you are. Now, I read some of your accolades before we started. So right now, what do you do?
Right now, I own Prestige Accounting and Consulting. We're a full-service CPA and consulting firm specifically for lawyers that are looking to reach new heights and catch more flights.
Why lawyers?
That's a great question. I get that question often, and it is covered in my book, Raise the Bar, which is right there behind me. But as I started my business, I am what we call a high performer. And so high performers are the type of people that enjoy education that they're able to implement, right? We're not just taking these classes just to take these classes. And so as I started my business, I delved into the podcast, the books, the audiobooks, the masterminds, all of those things so that I can learn how to better myself and I wanted to catapult my growth. I didn't want to be struggling for too long. So in my first 2 years, I invested a lot of the revenue back into the business, specifically into coaching and consulting. To date, I've spent over $250,000 on coaching and consulting to better myself and better this business. And so one of the things that I learned was if you want to grow and really, really like scale, you should have a narrow niche market. And this is the same thing that I teach my clients. And with that, I knew that being a CPA for everybody it just wasn't going to work. I think a lot of times, especially African Americans that go into the financial space, what we think is that we can save everybody. And the reality is that we can't. There's always going to be poor people and there's always going to be rich people. The world just needs balance, right? And so you have to figure out where you want to create impact. And so I had 5 different markets that I was serving at the time. And what I did to narrow it down is I would do a marketing campaign for each. I would interview people that are in the space. I would go to their events. I mean, I would go all in. And I realized that I resonated most with lawyers because we're both licensed professionals. And I realized that a lot of lawyers were great at their job. They were great at helping people. They were great at serving the community, but they were not good with financial management, specifically with the IOLTA and the trust account. So some people know, some people don't, but when a lawyer in most states gets a retainer that's unearned, it must be held in trust. Or if an attorney gets funds that are from a settlement, that's not their money. It must be held in a trust account and accounted for appropriately. And most of the lawyers I was talking to was keeping track of their trust account in Excel. And as you know, Excel, if you make one mistake, like the formula might not drop all the way. And so I saw a big need in the market. So it was definitely a strategic move on my side, but I also knew that I said to myself, is this a market that I could see myself serving for the rest of, the next 5-10 years, because you're going to have to go all in. And it was, and it's been great ever since then.
You mentioned at the beginning that you invested so much into learning and personal coaching and growing and developing. And one of the terms, I don't know if I remember it word for word, but you were saying that there will be poor people, there'll be, rich people, there will be balance. Your background, because you're very, you speak very eloquently, very factually, you're very learned. But when you were younger, did you always, number one, have this passion? And did you come from a very affluent background?
Absolutely not. Okay. My parents will debate me on this, but in my opinion, I grew up in poverty. Because if you could get approved for food stamps, that means that you're under the federal poverty limit. That's the only way you can get approved. Okay. So I had free lunch growing up, and we had food stamps sometimes. And yes, while we did grow up in a house that had a front yard and a backyard, my dad and my mom, we lived paycheck to paycheck. I remember sometimes we would go to the grocery store and the budget was only $100 to feed a family of 5 for a month. Yes. And so I was just, that was interesting to me. And I'll tell you a couple of other experiences that really changed my mindset as it pertains to money. So my first memory is going to kindergarten, and it's the first day of school, and I went to school with an empty book bag. And my dad said, look, if your teacher asks where your school supplies are, tell her I don't get paid till Friday, so she gonna have to wait till then. Mm-hmm. So, that was my first memory. Then growing up, getting a little older, this is back in the 90s when Sega Genesis was, the video game system, right? And yeah. I remember we went to like a pawn shop or something, and there was a Sega Genesis for only $100. And I said, can we please get the Sega Genesis? And he said, no, I can't afford it. And I'm thinking to myself, how are you a grown man who goes to work every day and you can't afford $100 game system? Like that, my brain just couldn't process that. It didn't make sense to me, right? And so the whole idea of living in poverty and being poor and not being able to afford what we needed and wanted, especially things that are not extravagant, just didn't, resonate with me. And then growing up and getting a little older into my adolescence, I realized in my zip code, see, they say Prince George's County is one of the richest counties for Black people in the United States. But there is still a lot of poverty in PG County, especially since they have discontinued a lot of the government programs in DC. And so a lot of people on Section 8 and things of that nature have moved to Prince George's County. And so in my zip code, you had the ultra rich people. So imagine a family of 3 in a 7-bedroom mansion. Then you have people like myself who are just barely making it, right? Living paycheck to paycheck in a house. And then you have the people that live in apartments, and it's like 7 of them in a 3-bedroom apartment. Wow. And so I always was curious, how is it that what's the difference? Like, how did those people become rich and those people become poor? Like, how did life experiences affect how people make money in adulthood and how they resonate, how they make money decisions? And so I've always been curious about money. That moved me to then go to school for accounting, because I was great in accounting in high school. And, then I became a CPA.
I was horrible at accounting in high school. P.S. But through all of that, I'm interested to learn, what did you discover? You were on this journey to figure out how people were going to manage their money based on their past. What have you found out now working with people? What tips what did you find? Mm-hmm. And what have been, and let me switch it up a little bit. What did you find about people, and what is the most overlooked thing about managing your money that you seem to see consistently that people just don't grasp? They just keep overlooking this one thing.
Yeah. So before I started my own firm, I worked many different accounting jobs. And one in particular that was one of the most impactful for me was working at a CPA firm for about 4 years. And right before leaving, I was responsible for about over 300 clients. And I noticed that a lot of those people had issues managing the business money because they had issues managing money, period. These people needed there was like just a level of financial literacy that needed to happen with business professionals. And there was a lot of money trauma that people have not unpacked. And so I've been in therapy for a few years now, and it's been very impactful for me. I feel like everyone should do therapy, especially business owners. But I realized if people don't work through those money traumas, and growing up in poverty, growing up living paycheck to paycheck is traumatic, and people don't understand that is an example of trauma, and it needs to be worked through. And so what I see happening is that people don't address their money. It's like a sight unseen, and so what happens is sometimes they don't even file tax returns. So years will go by and they don't file tax returns. That doesn't mean that you're not going to owe taxes. That's going to make it worse, actually. Yeah. And so that's what I'm really realizing. And as a CPA, I realized when I started my own firm that just accounting for people was doing the community a disservice. I really needed to help them manage their money better, and come to terms of what their money situation is, no matter where they are. Because I've seen $1 million businesses still have a loss, and I've seen very small businesses have a loss as well. So it doesn't matter whether you make it $5,000 a month, $50,000 a month, or $100,000 a month. Being able to properly manage your money, know where money is going and where it's coming from, and making data-driven decisions is very important.
A lot of people think that it's how much you have. If I have more, then I would do better with more. And I love how you put that, because it doesn't matter if you have 5,000 or 5 million. If you can't manage the 5,000, how are you going to successfully manage the 5 million. There's some like biblical principles in there, but I mean, that's a really interesting mindset that a lot of people, I just need more money. I just need more money. It's like, well, actually, you may just need to manage the money that you have. And it may go further if you look at it intentionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're a part of a lot of different organizations. Your journey has been a part of a lot of different organizations. And I love this part of your story because you're just not on one lane saying I'm going from A to B, but you have so many things in your tool belt and so many experiences and so many opportunities to connect with different people. Give me some of the organizations that you are either a part of or you found very beneficial in your journey.
So our organization actually starting this year, we give back at least 10% of our profits to bar associations. And that started last year with when I made my first big contribution, a 5-figure contribution to a bar association. It was like kind of hard for me to do, at first, but I'll tell you, so we donated to the National Bar Association that has a scholarship competition. And what they do is they have a competition where they have kids in different regions that are in high school going to college submit answers to questions, and then basically the best person in each region comes at the national convention and gives their speech in person, and then from there's a panel of judges that selects the winner, and that person gets a scholarship. And one of the question last year was something along the lines of, if MLK was still alive today, how would he react to what's going on as it pertains to the school system not allowing schools to make decisions based off of race? So as you know, we live in a country where we are a minority, and there was a time where minorities were not allowed to go to certain institutions, and there's been a lot of legislation and a lot of civil work done to change that, and now we're kind of moving backwards, right? And one of the things that was a common theme in the answers was that he would support the idea of reparation, and also the other part of the question was about reparations as well. How would he view that? And one of the common themes in the answer was that free education, because if you think about it, education is the way out of poverty. You have to become skilled at something, right? It doesn't take that much of a skill to run a cash register at a fast food restaurant. It doesn't take that much of a skill to flip burgers. It does take a high skill to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, so many other different, industries. And so I saw that, and I saw the impact that they were creating, and that's when I started to increase our give back. And so there's, a number of different bar associations that we've been associated with: Georgia Bar, Gate City Bar Association, Georgia Association for Black Women Attorneys, Georgia Association for Women Lawyers, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. How important are not just being associated and the privilege of being able to give, but the opportunities to network and connect? How important is connecting and networking to a business journey or a person's journey in business?
I think in a field where people work with people that they know, like, and trust is very important. Especially when you're working with an industry that's very risk averse. So I give back not only monetarily, but also through education with webinars, teachings, CLEs, and all of those things. And that has been great for not only growing the book of business, but growing the network of referral partners, and just people that support the overall mission and vision for the firm. See, a lot of people go in business, and when I ask them why they go in business, they say, because I don't want to work for anybody else. That's not a good sign. That's not really like a good, that's not a good foundation for business. Let's start there, you know? And so I see the actual impact that I'm creating. Other people see the impact that I'm creating. And they see that I'm helping people navigate and push through entrepreneurial poverty. And that has been beneficial. And even on I also network with a lot of CPAs as well. So I gave a education, a continuing professional education at the AICPA annual convention this year, and that's one of like the biggest conventions that we as CPAs have. So that was very good for my resume, but it was also good to see just how much the industry has not moved. Like it's so many things that are so normal to me, like using a CRM, automated billing, you know, firing clients that don't pay us, having SOPs, all of these things that are so normal to me that are not normal to firms that have started back in the 90s, right? And so I'm not only affecting my client base, but I'm also affecting people in the industry so that they can better serve their clients as well. And lastly, I'll say I'm a part of an organization called Diverse Organization of Firms, which is a branch of National Association for Black Accountants. And we have a conference every year as well. And it's amazing to, you know, pass ideas to each other, information share. I'm learning about opportunities that maybe I'm not interested in now, but maybe 5-10 years down the line, as our firm continues to grow, we will be interested in. And so I don't view anybody as competition. And I don't say that in a cocky way. It's just simple supply and demand. The demand is higher than the supply in the market. So anyone that does anything even close to remotely close to what I do is not competition. If anything, they're more of a peer, and maybe even like could be a mastermind member, you know, so that's how I view it.
I love that perspective. There's no competition. I love that. I love that. I love that. We spoke about kind of your background. We talked about your why, looking at poverty, going to wealth, now building over $1 million plus in business, being able to give back in such an incredible way. You're very dynamic when you speak. Clearly, you got style. You know, how do you maneuver? A lot of that could change people along the way if you're not careful. How important is authenticity to your journey?
If you're not authentic, then you're always going to feel like you have to perform. And the reality is you're never going to be able to please everyone. So a part of being authentically yourself is saying, I recognize I'm not everybody's cup of coffee, and being okay with that, and being okay with your no. We give more no's than yes. We limit the amount of new clients that we can serve each month because of how much work goes in on the front end.
How do you balance being so successful and having a life?
Well, for me, my situation is very different than a lot of people because I don't have kids, you know. So having a spouse and having children, your work-life balance might look a little different than my work-life balance. However, in general, my thought process is create a business around your lifestyle. Don't create a lifestyle around your business. Okay. So what I do, at one point I was overworked. I was working 80 hours a week for 2 months straight. And I was literally in my 20s, and my doctor told me I had high blood pressure.
Wow.
So at that point, I realized, you know what, I have to make a change. That's when I started traveling. And traveling has just been so beneficial to my mental health.
Yes.
It allows me to be the best person that I can be and show up authentically in the manner in which my clients need me to show up. And so now what I've implemented in my business is implementing retreats.
Oh,
Business growth retreats. So I've done retreats in Tulum, I've done South Africa, Miami, Atlanta, and places that we're going in the future, Dubai, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Curacao. So I am showing people you can have $1 million business and travel the world.
yeah.
I'm showing people, look, if you want to get like me, what you're going to have to do is create a business that doesn't require you to be there 7 days a week. Okay. And I have seen people actually make those changes and seen so much positive impact on their life, you know, because they don't have a choice. If you're going to go to our retreat, that's a week long, you have to figure out how the team is going to survive without you being there and not blow everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's deep. That's deep. I create, say it again, because I'm going to mess it up. You said create
a business around your lifestyle. Don't create your lifestyle surrounding your business.
That was a huge, huge wisdom nugget right there.
Yeah, and one of my mentors early on had gave me that tip, because he was big. He was like, whatever you spend the most money on, you need to go ahead and figure out how to make it tax deductible. That's how he said it. Okay, so I just spun it and made it a little bit more professional.
I get it. I get both of them, but I get it.
So here at Prestige, we have a methodology called the Climb methodology that people who are looking to get to the next level, who might feel a little burnt out, that they can take in order to take themselves to the next level. C standing for cash flow. You have to know where your money is coming from, know where your money is going, and actually manage it well and have someone help you do that. The L stands for labor. So making sure that you have a team. So people, if you are hesitant to hire, the thought process I hear a lot is, I don't want to be responsible for people. I don't want to be responsible for people paying their bills. Well, the reality is, if you're a business owner, no business grows without hiring. And the CEO of Walmart is not at the cash register. Okay. So you genuinely, a real business does not have the CEO doing everything from beginning to end. And if you are doing that, then you don't own a business, you're an independent contractor. So what I would recommend is some leadership development. And I've taken leadership coaching as well. And that's gotten me comfortable with growing my team to now 25. The I standing for IT and systems. So figure out how you can utilize technology to streamline whatever it is that you do. AI is big. ChatGPT can do some amazing things. Okay. Amazing things. All right. It can help you in so many different aspects of your business. It's worth taking the time out of your day at some point to put more time into business development and learn these systems, learn the technology, learn the best ways that you can implement technology to do things that humans may make errors on. So if someone wants to schedule a call with me, there's a link that they can use. I'm not going back and forth with you over email. Okay. That's not a CEO level duty. Here's the link, book your call. I actually had someone who I had to fire because they couldn't do a simple task, which was scheduling calls, right? So now I have technology for $12.95 a month that can do a job that a human being could not.
Yeah.
The M standing for marketing. Now, understand what marketing efforts work best for you. We don't have to do TV commercials anymore. Social media is a great low-cost way to reach many people that are already interested in what you sell, because it's tied to their interest. It's tied to whatever they're already searching. So figure out how you can use marketing and maximize that ROI in order to reach the people that are looking for you. Okay. And then go to in-person events as well. I can't tell you how many times I have went to an event and someone has said, I've been looking for you. I've been looking specifically for you, or I've been looking for somebody that does what you do. And this is the perfect time. It's so crazy that I met you. And that keeps me going, right? The B is business organization. So a lot of times people go from a job to work in a business and they treat their business like a job. A business needs a business plan. And I don't mean it has to happen overnight, but a business plan that you are continuously working on. Every quarter, you should have some strategic planning meetings where you're planning your revenue goals, your sales goals, your new client goals, and what changes you want to make within your organization to optimize your organization. And if that resonates with you, if that's something that you're looking for and you're a law firm owner, you can book a free consultation with me. Our website is accounting-atlanta.com. And I think, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of that stuff. You can find me at The Great Jayden.
So as we go, I'm going to give you the last word with your journey and your success. What is one thing that you would encourage somebody to do just to keep moving forward?
The first thing I would encourage them to do is really sit back and change their relationship with money. The thought process that money is the root to all evil is incorrect. Poverty is the root to all evil. And if you have a great skill and you have been called to share that skill with the world, you're doing a disservice by playing it small.
Doing a disservice by playing it small. Jayden, thank you for being here. I appreciate your expertise, your passion for what you do, and your knowledge and your style.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been great.
That was Jayden Doye. Listen, if you didn't get anything else from there, take this away. There are people who have gone through so much and have become successful, and you can learn from their advice. Make sure that you go to thephillippshow.com and connect with Jayden, and make sure that you find that one thing that makes you happy. Find that one skill that you can monetize and figure out how you can turn what you love into your business. Until next time, once again, you are the best you in the world. I will see you next time here on The Phillip Show.
Don't wait.